Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Raw Deal. This is Scholar Tarek welcoming you back and is prepared to discuss the Survivor Series Go Home episode of Monday Night Raw. And to be perfectly honest, I'm actually really excited to talk about this episode. So let's go ahead and just dive right in to discuss Monday Night Raw, November 16th, 2020. So the show opens up with Drew McIntyre coming in and giving a promo about him basically being thankful and that he's ready to knock Roman Reigns off the pedestal he put himself on as tribal chief and the head of the table. He's ready to take care of Roman Reigns after he defeats Randy Orton to become the new WWE champion. And of course, after that promo, Randy Orton shows up on the Titantron, basically going on how he's also thankful of all the suspensions and suspensions and fines that he's gotten over the years, because that's helped shaped him to become the 14-time WWE champion, and that, of course, he's also going to win. Typical back and forth promo, I'm going to win, no, I'm going to win promo. But after that, Drew kind of actually no-sells it, and that basically continues to vow to end Orton as they continue to end each other's sentences, as he put it, and that he vows to end Randy Orton's WWE Championship. And of course, out comes The Miz and John Morrison, basically spewing the same thing that they've been spewing the last couple of weeks, of him still being in the background with the Money in the Bank contract and is ready to cash in at any point. It doesn't matter who wins the match between Orton and Drew. He's going to win the WWE Championship. The one mistake that he did say, however, is basically calling out Bray Wyatt, saying that the reason he didn't show up on Monday Night Raw last week is that, simply put, he's afraid of The Miz. Big mistake, Miz. And later in the night kind of shows that. Next up is I'm looking at my notes here. Next up is a 6-women tag team match between Lana, Shayna Baszler, and Nia Jax, going against Raw Women's Champion Asuka, Mandy Rose, and Dana Brooke. Now, the storyline goes that Lana actually went to Adam Pearce and approved this match tonight just so she can show Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax that she's worthy enough to be on the Raw Women's Survivor Series team, continuing planting the seeds of what Brian and I are pretty much predicting for our Survivor Series prediction show. But I'll save that for the prediction show. At least unless you people listen to last week's episode and already know our predictions. But I'm jumping ahead on that one. So Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax are just pretty much not caring about what Lana says. They are telling her to just not get involved in the match and just let them do their thing, since they're the most dominant force of the women's division. Yippee. So the match goes on, and immediately right out of the gate, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler take out Mandy Rose out of the match, and announced later out of the Survivor Series match, which apparently Mandy Rose actually has a legit injury, and this was used as storyline purposes to take her out of the Survivor Series match and of this one. So the match becomes essentially a handicap match with Shayna and Nia kind of taking control until Lana tags herself in, and then essentially gets immediately tapped out by Asuka. And Nia just goes to Lana, explains, "Oh, no, it's okay. You did your best. You are definitely worthy. We're teammates. We are going to win the Raw Survivor Series. You are our friend." Psych. And notice my eye rolling on that one, because as soon as Nia Jax yelled psych, I'm just like, okay, that was lame. And god damn it, why is booking making Lana so goddamn stupid? And that she actually believed that Nia Jax is her friend, because this has essentially been the same storyline for almost I think over 2 months now, of Nia pretending to be Lana's friend, only to, ninth time this week, Samoan drop her through the announce table. Again, setting up for what is inevitably going to be the result of the Women's Survivor Series match this Sunday. After that, we get a pretty funny backstage promo between the members of the Men's Survivor Series team of Team Raw. AJ Styles trying to get them to put their differences aside and to become a strong unit so they can take down Team SmackDown. So he sets up an 8-man tag match later in the night against Retribution. They're okay with that. And AJ is like, okay, that's it. Now I'll give you these Raw, the typical Team Raw Team Raw t-shirts, which none of them want. Everyone's like, I think even Braun Strowman replied, what is this, from the Baby Gap? Keith Lee's like, this is going to be covering up my arms. I don't want this. And Sheamus, being Sheamus, just walks off. And Matt Riddle comes to AJ and the doorman, which is named Amos now. They're just calling him Amos. Riddle comes up to him, to both of them, and says, you know, man, I don't want anyone feeling left out. I should give a nickname to Amos. And AJ Styles immediately shuts that down. It's like, no more nicknames, just enough. Don't talk to him. Just prepare for your match. And it ends with the two of them, with AJ Styles and Amos just going, he thinks he can talk to you? I mean, it's not like you could talk English, right? And Amos just simply replies, yes, I do. Of course I do. And it completely catches AJ off guard. I actually like the Twitch like the kind of shaken reaction, like, whoa, you could talk this whole time? Why didn't you tell me? And Amos just simply replies, you didn't ask. I actually found that segment to be quite funny, and AJ reaction sold that well, and Amos being just a big lovable goofball now, but still very intimidating. Again, very funny backstage segment. After commercial break, we get Dana Brooke trying to give an update on Mandy Rose's kayfabe injury, which leads to Mia Yim reckoning, attacking Dana, and basically just completely destroying her, which is announced that even Dana Brooke is removed from the Survivor Series team. And my response to that was just, okay. For people who've watched our show over the years, I am not a fan of Dana Brooke. And now I'm still not a fan of Retribution. So this segment did absolutely nothing to me. But what did do something for me was the Firefly Funhouse segment. Of course, I'm loving Bray Wyatt and I'm loving Alexa Bliss. Them continuing to be one of the best things on Monday Night Raw, which Bray Wyatt acknowledges what The Miz says, and so he challenges him to a match later in the night. And so the rest of the segment is him prepping for his match with Miz, with an agility test of him basically taking out Huskus and Mercy while being blindfolded, to spelling of Bray Wyatt answering a spelling bee, spelling jackass, M-I-Z, ha 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 ha. And actually, legit, I was like, ha 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 ha. And the final thing, accuracy. So with throwing darts at a dartboard that has Rambling Rabbit latched onto it, but of course with an apple on his head. And of course, Bray Wyatt throws it and it hits Rambling Rabbit, to which Bray and Alexa give out a joke. Bullseye! More like Rabbit Heart. So yeah, And then that segment ends with them saying, "See you later tonight, Miz." And with that, hour 2 actually begins with the first title match of the 2 title matches announced on this show. The Raw Tag Team Championship with the New Day defending those titles against the Hurt Business. And after pretty much them ending the first hour with a kind of a meh back and forth promo between the two, the match which led to an actual really, really awesome match between the New Day, Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston versus the 2 members of the Hurt Business, Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. And of course, it reminds us why Shelton Benjamin is just completely amazing in the tag team division. Reversing a boom drop right into a buckle bomb. We're just thinking the timing of that was perfect because, of course, he's laying down. Kofi Kingston is prepping for that boom drop, and immediately Benjamin just stands right up, catches him, and just power bombs him into the turnbuckle. Timing was perfect. And even Cedric Alexander doing pretty much 3 suicide dives in a row, each one of them actually kind of looking terrified because the first 2 times he overjumps the suicide dives and lands pretty much right into the barricade. And the third one, he kind of undershoots it and just topples all on top of Xavier Woods. It was actually pretty freaky. Just think, I'm like, this man is just going to hurt himself if he keeps throwing himself outside like this. But yeah, great match. These 4 guys have just great chemistry together, and the Hurt Business looked extremely, extremely strong with near fall after near fall. But the match ends with Kofi and Xavier hitting pretty much in a very intense daybreak on Cedric Alexander to secure the win, to have the New Day versus the Street Profits for Survivor Series. Afterwards, we get actually another great backstage segment with Sheamus calling Drew McIntyre over and giving him a gift, which is Drew McIntyre's family thought to be long lost kilt and wrestling gear, and a pretty badass sword in his pretty much a new entrance attire for Drew McIntyre, which he reveals later in the night in his match with Randy Orton. Once the segment ended, I'm just thinking, I love this segment. I love the backstage segments between Sheamus and Drew McIntyre, and it's just slowly building to basically an inevitable feud between the two, which these two will put on just fantastic, fantastic matches for their feud. Next up is the Team Raw versus Retribution 8-man tag match, and it was pretty much booked exactly how I was thinking it was gonna be. AJ Styles is on commentary, kind of pretty much crapping all over Retribution. Seems this may be just me, but I kind of saw with Ali kind of yelling at AJ Styles on commentary, and AJ Styles kind of shitting all over Retribution. It seems like they're planning a possible feud between Ali and Styles. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but again, it's just probably me looking into it. I don't know. But the match pretty much, went exactly how I thought. Retribution kind of had a small advantage on Matt Riddle, keeping him away from his tag partners, beating him down whenever he seems to get momentum up. But that was very short-lived the second they tagged in Slapjack, and who is the weakest member of Retribution, which gave Matt Riddle the opportunity to take him down and give a hot tag to Keith Lee. And once that hot tag hit, Keith Lee pretty much annihilated most of the members of Retribution, kind of minus Ali, because he seems to be the most protected of the groups, being the group leader. Yeah, but yeah, Keith Lee was just completely destroying the other members of Retribution, T-Bar, Mace, and Slapjack, even using Slapjack as a weapon against the other two members, in which Braun Strowman and Sheamus even got involved, taking down the members of Retribution, kind of essentially destroying them, even their reputation even more. But the match ends with, like, while Team Raw is getting their momentum built, their egos start to kick in, and they're all tagging each other out to try and land their finishing moves on Retribution. But of course, that leads to them arguing and shoving each other. Matt Riddle blind tags himself and starts an argument with Braun Strowman, which gives Ali the opportunity to crash Riddle into Strowman which is a domino effect. Riddle hits Strowman, Strowman hits Lee, and they all knock each other down, and gives Ali the opportunity to quickly roll up Matt Riddle to secure their win, which in the end, you really think it's still Retribution may have gotten their second win after a long time of losing, but it didn't make them look good. I mean, it was basically Team Raw being their own worst enemy in it, and Ali taking the advantage of that situation. The rest of Retribution just still got completely destroyed, and the stable itself continues to look more and more like shit. After that, we get a backstage series of interview segments. I actually don't remember the interviewer's name. I think Sarah, I believe. She bumps into Nikki Cross, who's pretty much made it her mission to try and save Alexa Bliss from the clutches of the Fiend Bray Wyatt. Yeah. She even goes to saying that she's going to save Alexa Bliss no matter what. Walks off. In which Sarah turns around and finds Jeff Hardy getting really angry at posters put up by Elias, trying to get some information on the whole hit and run thing that happened on SmackDown all those months ago earlier in the year. To which Jeff Hardy finds Elias and threatens him to stop doing this, or else he's going to do something even worse than getting hit with a car. All right, maybe it's some possible heel turn for Jeff Hardy. I don't know. I kind of doubt it, but it's just giving us showing us a dark side to Jeff Hardy, threatening Elias to have him stop doing this investigation, and pretty much still blaming Jeff Hardy for that hit and run. Next up, we actually finally get the match between The Miz and Bray Wyatt. And similar to the Raw Tag Team title match, they have a promo to basically close out the second hour, which Miz tries to make peace with Bray Wyatt from what he said earlier, to saying, okay, first, you send a creepy-ass doll to my 1-year-old child. I say something mean about you earlier in the show. We're even. Now let's try and go water under the bridge, and let's try and team up to take down Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton, just so he can cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase. Typical Miz stuff. To which Alexa Bliss actually comes out to a brand new theme song, which is actually kind of like a fiendish version of her theme song, and it's actually kind of badass. And she just simply answers no to The Miz, saying, oh, his answer is no. And then Nikki Cross comes out and tries to basically convince Alexa Bliss, you have to leave. I'm your friend. You just have to get away from Bray Wyatt. You have to get away from him. You just leave. I'm worried about you. to which Alexa simply responds with a big slap in the face and a brawl between the two, which leads Bray Wyatt to come out and just give this big, nasty death stare to Nikki Cross and slowly turns to Alexa Bliss and just gives his back to his Firefly Funhouse, all happy, ready, happy to be there, loving everything, and goes on to his match with The Miz, which it was maybe like a 5-7 minute match, but it just simply showed that Bray Wyatt is still this, even as the Firefly Funhouse Bray, he is still this very, very intimidating force. To it, like he's seems to be similar to their match months ago. Miz is throwing these attacks, and Bray seems to just be enjoying the damage. To even Morrison trying to get involved, to which Bray and Alexa Bliss just creep him out to the point where Alexa even throws herself. She throws herself onto John Morrison, to them crashing over the barricade. And Miz tries to take advantage of basically a concerned Bray Wyatt, going, Alexa, are you okay? Alexa? Boom. Miz tries to take advantage, attacks Bray Wyatt, does his turnbuckle clothesline, to which Bray just turns to Miz, looks him dead in the eye, and just, boom, hits a Sister Abigail, 1, 2, 3. Bray and Alexa just are celebrating their victory, and that their victory ends with the Fiend showing up on the Titantron and the screen going black. I love Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss together. They are a great pair. They are a great act. When it comes to Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss, from Firefly Funhouse Bray to Fiend Bray, I love everything about it. I even love this potential feud going on with Nikki Cross for Alexa Bliss. I love it all so much. I want more. Yes, please. And with this being hour 3, the Miz and Bray match pretty much began hour 3, and once their match ended, they had a backstage segment with not Raw or SmackDown general manager, just WWE official Adam Pearce, announcing that with Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose being unable to compete in the Women's Survivor Series match, they're going to be replaced by Lacey Evans and Peyton Royce. Cool. Well, I guess that's kind of cool for Jeff's sake. I mean, the love of his life, Lacey Evans, is going to be in this match, so something for him to look forward to in that Women's Survivor Series match, apparently. And after another backstage segment with Angel Garza looking for love, I don't care. We get the main event of the WWE Championship, Randy Orton defending against Drew McIntyre. And this is another example of just greatness that WWE presented in this, from the pretty much WrestleMania-esque entrance for Drew McIntyre. He comes out with his kilt wrestling gear and his big-ass sword, and he stabs the sword onto the stage, which leads to giant balls of fire all around the Thunderdome. This is WrestleMania-esque entrance, and in all honesty, I kind of wish I'm wishing that this is going to be Drew McIntyre's entrance from now on, mainly for pay-per-views, especially when it comes to the fireworks aspect, but maybe the kilt attire for his entrance and his new trunks to go with it, and the sword will be his added to his entrance, and the fireworks will mainly be for pay-per-views. But onto the match itself. Early on, they go. Orton and Drew go back and forth And early on, Randy Orton tries to basically get himself out of the match by just simply leaving, getting himself counted out, to which Adam Pearce shows up on the stage and just goes, "We are not ending this match with like this." So I'm making it official because, he's the WWE official. It's going to be a no count out, no disqualification match. And yeah, that's, as he put it, that's official. People power. All right. To which, after the commercial break, we pretty much just get a nice no DQ match between Drew and Randy. Great. These two work great together. This was just another fantastic match. You get Orton choking Drew with a chair. You get Orton smashing Drew with the steel steps outside. Them basically slamming each other onto the announce table. McIntyre knocking Randy Orton off the apron through another table. Just pretty brutal stuff. And I think the match was just maybe under 25 minutes, which was just a good amount of time for these two. And the match ends with Drew McIntyre reversing an RKO right into a Claymore. And I'm thinking, that's exactly how I want the match to end. To which, that's exactly how it ends. Reverse an RKO into a Claymore. Pin. 1, 2, 3. We have a new WWE champion in Drew McIntyre. And now the match is going to be Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns. A match that I said on the last week's episode of the Scholars of Wrestling, I was looking forward to more than Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns. I am now super pumped for that one. I know these two are going to have a great match. They had a pretty good match at the WrestleMania I went to a couple of years ago. So that Drew McIntyre celebrating with the championship is how Raw ends. And final thought, this was a very, very good episode of Monday Night Raw. Very, very good episode for a go-home show, which is something they kind of haven't done in a while. This is the type of show that Raw needs to be on a regular basis. It was a near perfect show. I had a few problems with it. I didn't like the women's stuff. I like the 6 women tag and the announcement of Peyton Royce and Lacey Evans being added. I honestly couldn't care less about the Raw women's team. The men's team was fun. Of course, it still did absolutely nothing for Retribution. Hence, but it's also Retribution's not even they're not the main focus. It's the main story of, can Team Raw get along? Ooh, excuse me. And from Bray Wyatt to the 2 title matches, both matches were just, the 2 championship matches were just damn awesome good matches. I probably would pick the Orton versus McIntyre as the better of the 2 matches because it's just good. They had a good story to go with it, and it was just great wrestling. The tag team championship match was just more great wrestling. The story was kind of meh for me. And, of course, Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss continuing to be possibly one of my favorite things, if not the favorite thing for me on Monday Night Raw. So I'm going to give this Raw a 4 out of 5, a high 4 out of 5 full beard. So that was this week's episode of Monday Night Raw, the go-home show to Survivor Series, at least on the Raw side. We still got the go-home show for SmackDown coming up later this week. Now, I want to know what you all thought of Monday Night Raw. Be sure to leave a comment down below. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the Scholars of Wrestling show, and be sure to join us on our Scholars of Wrestling Survivor Series prediction show that is coming later this week. So thank you all for joining me tonight, and this is another episode of Raw Deal. And this is Scholar Tarek saying good night, everybody.